Welcome everyone to this session of our open-minded discussions about issues affecting Kenya, Africa, and the world. And one of the issues which is heated today concerns the global memberships of African countries to trading blocs. Now, before we delve into this video, I want to encourage everyone watching me for the first time that you subscribe to this channel and like this video. For those watching me for the second or third or many times and you have never subscribed, I pray and request that you take a second or two and hit the subscribe button. I will thank you for that. BRICS is one of the major trading blocs in the world today, and BRICS is comprises of 5 countries, including Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This trading bloc features these 5 countries, and these 5 countries are completely different from one another. When I look at Brazil, when I look at Russia, and I look at India, I look at China, these 4 countries belong to top 11 when they are ranked globally in terms of their GDP and economic performance. Brazil, Russia, India, and China belong to top 11, and their GDPs are in terms of trillions. South Africa is the only African country in BRICS, and South Africa is ranked number 32 in economic ranking and in terms of GDP, with a GDP of it is around 349 billion US dollars, and the others are in trillions. Ethiopia is seeking to join the BRICS bloc. I want us to use BRICS as the foundation of our discussion. South Africa, or maybe Ethiopia, belonging to BRICS, I consider BRICS a platform for economic heavyweights. South Africa is not an heavyweight economically, though in Africa it may be an heavyweight, but globally South Africa is not an heavyweight. Membership to BRICS, South Africa's membership to BRICS is unfair play. It is South Africa is chilling with the big boys, but it is not yet a big boy, and this will pose very serious economic implications to South Africa. I emphasized in my previous video that the only way that South Africa can be successful, the only way that any African country can be successful is through unity. Africa must first be united, form a united economic bloc, form a united economic bloc. That is when Africa can freely and mutually engage with other global economic blocs. Africa will be considered an heavyweight, an economic heavyweight, when it joins BRICS as Africa, not as South Africa, not as Ethiopia, not as Uganda. Africa will be considered an economic heavyweight when it joins these international trading blocs as Africa. And in this way, I first forge for African unity. Some might ask the question, what is the formula? What formula should African countries follow while joining these international trading blocs? In answering that question, His Excellency Modibo Keita of Mali, that was the president of Mali, Modibo Keita of Mali, gave a formula to African countries. He gave a formula that African governments and African presidents would follow in joining these international organizations, the trading blocs. Modibo Keita of Mali gave this formula while he was presenting his speech before King Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia in Addis Ababa 1963 during the first OAU summit. And among other leaders, Julius Nyerere was present, Kwame Nkrumah was present, Naminde Aziz, many others were present during this presentation. And Modibo Keita said, and I quote, "A horizontal alliance at first on the African level, afterwards vertical cooperation with the other international organizations." There are two key points that Modibo Keita noted in his formula. First, Modibo Keita noted that there should be a horizontal alliance at first on the African level. Horizontal alliance, when we were doing mathematics and other subjects, horizontal is something that is on the same level. On the same level. So Modibo Keita was opting for an African unity based on same level engagement between African governments and African countries. He was emphasizing an African unity, African platform, African foundation, African organization, African bloc that was based on the mutual engagement between these African countries. That was Modibo Keita's first formula. Horizontal level for African countries at the African level. That means that African countries needed to be united first. African unity came first before engagement with the foreigners and at the international level. That was Modibo Keita's formula. Then the second step was vertical cooperation with the international organizations. Vertical cooperation, in mathematics, I understand vertical as this. This is the vertical. Vertical means that people are not at the same level. Vertical, not at the same level. When you compare Africa and the other global players, it is true and it is open and it is obvious that Africa does not operate at the same level as these countries. Compare Africa with the United States. We don't have the same economic performance and we lack the same political performance, social performance. We are not at the same level. Now, Modibo Keita was emphasizing that the second step was now for the vertical cooperation with the international organizations. But first, Modibo Keita ascertained, acknowledged, and stressed the need for African unity and Africans to form their own trading bloc comprising of all African countries. And this formation was to be based on mutual understanding, same level understanding, same level cooperation. I believe Africans should extract this information that Modibo Keita gave. They should learn from Modibo Keita concerning the formula for engaging the West and seeking memberships from these international organizations. I would advise the president of Ethiopia and the government of Ethiopia, instead of seeking a solo entry, solo membership in the BRICS bloc, instead of South Africa joining BRICS as South Africa, these two countries need to engage all other African countries, the remaining 53, I don't know, they are 50, 55 or what, the remaining 53 African countries. They should engage them for the formation, engage them to consider the formation of African platform, African trading bloc, horizontal alliance, as Modibo said, horizontal alliance that will comprise all the 55 African countries. After forming this African alliance, then these African countries can now have the latitude to join other international organizations, and only through this way can Africa be successful. And it is only through this way that Africa can avoid extreme reliance on foreigners. It is only through this way that Africa can avoid recolonization. In most cases, economic recolonization. I long for a day when Africans will which is the best word that I can use? And I long for a day when Africans would attach seriousness to the instructions of the founding fathers. I will long for a day when Africans will use the same eyesight that these founding fathers used when they envisioned a united Africa. What will we tell the likes of Modibo Keita of Mali when they wake up today? What will we tell them? When he wakes up today and find that his beloved country Mali is back to the colonialist, what would Modibo do when he wakes up today and find that the Malian government are sleeping with the foreign governments? What would Modibo Keita think of the Malian politicians when he wakes up and find that the Malian government invited back the colonialists to colonize them a second time? I think if these our founding fathers wake up today, they would petition us. They would petition Africans, and they would question the sanity of Africans. Africans have been colonized in every aspect of human life. Every aspect. And now, the colonization has extended to their memberships to these international organizations. And I seek to remind African presidents, I seek to remind African leaders, and I seek to remind African politicians that joining trading blocs as a sovereign country will not help. You will join those trading blocs with no voice. You will have nothing to bring on the table. Even if you have nothing, even if you have something to bring on the table, it will be insignificant compared to what the rest are bringing. I take an example of South Africa. What South Africa brings to the table of BRICS cannot be compared to what Brazil brings on the table of BRICS. What Ethiopia will bring to the table of BRICS can never be compared to what China brings on the same table. The only strategy to joining these international trading blocs, the only strategy to joining these international organizations is first through African unity based on an horizontal alliance. Second, vertical cooperation with these groups. That is Modibo Keita's formula for African governments and African presidents to join the international trading organizations. I pray that African governments and African presidents follow the formula. I will close my session by repeating the same speech that His Excellency Modibo Keita of Mali delivered in 1963 during the first OAU summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And I say, our horizontal alliance at first on the African level, afterwards vertical cooperation with the other international organizations. That is an advice to African presidents before joining any international group. I pray that you watch this video, like the video, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel and share it for more views. Thank you. God bless you. Allah bless you.